Hello, what's going on? I'm recording this on a Friday, but you're going to be watching this on a Monday. So I'm really excited for the weekend. You're watching this and you're probably like, oh, we're back in school. Sorry about that. I'll try to make this as painless as possible. Here we go. This new short story we're going to be reading, and it is actually quite short compared to the one we read last time, Medicine Bag. This is going to be quite short. 13 words. I don't know. I don't think they're all that difficult. Some of them might be review. Some of them might be brand new. A couple of them have like different pronunciations. Let's do it. There they are. The first one is universal. Hey, anytime you see uni, by the way, uni, think of one. Okay, so like, thankfully I don't have it, but a unibrow. It's basically when a person has like one eyebrow, unibrow. So uni means one, uniform. Like if you work at McDonald's, like everybody dresses the same way. Universal. If I make this bigger, you can see that it can be found all over. Most people feel the same way. So there are some things just no matter where you go in the world, like these are universal thoughts. Universal. There actually are very few universal thoughts, but I think most people want to be happy. That's probably universally known. All right, the next one is attribute. Attribute. And there is another word in English, attribute, spelled the same way, pronounced differently, but we are talking about attribute, and that means to give credit to somebody. So when somebody wins a major award or like wins the Super Bowl, or they often will give credit to somebody, or they will attribute their success to somebody. So maybe somebody winning the Super Bowl right after, hey, they might not use the word attribute. They might say, hey, if it wasn't for my dad, my mom, I wouldn't be here. So they are attributing their success to their parents. It means to give credit for somebody, to someone. All right. Maybe you do a project with someone. Maybe it's a team project. I hate those things. So I never assign them. I mean, maybe really good teachers assign group projects, but we all know how it works, right? One person ends up doing all the work and the other like three people just goof off. Come on. You do not have to worry about group projects in here. Come on. I hate those things. I was always the guy doing all the work. All right. But if you do a group project, hopefully you will give credit to the other people who maybe helped you, so you can attribute some of the parts of the project to them. Give credit to them. All right. The next one. Oh, this is a good one. Gratifying. Gratifying. Get past that ad. It's like pleasing, satisfying. Some people find a morning coffee to be very gratifying. You can see the picture there. It's like that person looks like they're really happy. I'm hoping like after you do your homework, you get all your work done. Like, oh, it's a good feeling. Hopefully most of you do that. It feels pretty gratifying. Workout, get a good workout in. Like, hey, that was a good practice. That felt very gratifying. That's that word, gratifying. The next word is notable. Can I make this any bigger? That might help. There you go. Pictures, notable, deserving of attention, outstanding. So, who are some notable people in the world? I don't know. Maybe Elon Musk. I don't know. He's definitely notable. I'm not saying he's doing everything right, but I think he's trying to make the planet better by creating cars that don't run on as much gasoline. They seem to be popular cars. I can't afford one, but I mean, Elon Musk is a notable person. Most people know him. Good or bad. See, notice the definition isn't like deserving of attention. I mean, outstanding, but if somebody is notable, it could be for a bad reason too, I guess. But there is also that outstanding. But notable, who's a notable person? Well, I mean, obviously the president of the United States. That would be a notable person. But some people disagree with that person. So it's not outstanding. It's not always, but usually it's for a good thing. It's not like a word like infamous, which we will have later on in the year. that means famous for a bad reason. It's always bad. Notable, mostly good. Standoffishness. How do you like that word? Standoffishness. So if somebody is standoffish, it's the adjective. It's how you'll hear it most of the time. It means let's look at the definition. Somewhat cold and unfriendly. So at the beginning of the year, maybe, some people were standoffish. Maybe they didn't want to get too close to people. Maybe it takes a while for them to warm up. Standoffish. Oh man, sometimes my friend has a dog that he adopted, rescued, and they think it was abused at one time by a man, because when they first got the dog really loved his wife, no problems there. But as a guy, the dog was really standoffish, and it showed a lot of standoffishness. That's the noun, but it was very standoffish. So it took a while for the dog to warm up to my friend. His name's Brian, by the way. You probably didn't care, right? Brian. What's the next word? Lopsided. Let's make this bigger because there's a good picture there. That is the Leaning Tower of Pisa in Italy. Pisa, Italy. And you can see it's like leaning to one side, and that is what lopsided is. I mean, you could say lopsidedness to make it a noun. This is an adjective describing something lopsided. Oh, look at this over here. Make this bigger. These folders, I don't even know what's in those folders, but they're kind of lopsided. They're kind of leaning to the side. I see it a lot of times when people are trying to carry like a stack of books or something. They look like they're going to tip over because they're lopsided. How about that? Lopsided. Oh, during the summer, my sister has a camp on Tricky Pond. I'm a bigger guy, I'm pushing about 220 these days. And my brother is even bigger. But when we get on the boat, on my sister's boat, me and my brother have to make sure we're not on the same side of the boat because it would become lopsided. Yeah, probably the two of us, about 500, maybe. Close. No, my brother, he'd have to be 280. He's not 280, but depending on the day. All right, fluted. Maybe this comes from science class too. You might use, I'm not sharing. You might use something called a flute, but it's a tall, narrow shape designed for a smooth flow of liquid. Fluted. And I believe when we talk about fluted with red roses, I believe they're put into a fluted vase. So it's something that's like kind of bigger at the top and gets narrow. In science class, you might use a flute, not the musical instrument, but it's a test tube that's kind of like wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. It's fluted. Hope that makes sense. Don't confuse it with the musical instrument. Quiver. So for us here, it's a verb. Quiver means to tremble, shake with a slight rapid motion. You can see that dog right there? Quivering. Okay? Quiver. It's a verb. Quiver can also be a noun. It's like where you hold arrows, right? Like Hawkeye is usually carrying a quiver on his back, but we're just worrying about the noun. Like if somebody's really nervous, like the story we're going to read is about somebody in middle school who really likes somebody else, and they're going to give them red roses in front of everybody. But before somebody does that, might be a little nervous. So you might quiver. That's quiver. The next one is persistent. And that means not giving up or stopping. Persistent. I hope you are persistent in your quest to finish all of your work. Never give up. I hope you're persistent in trying to fulfill your dreams. Don't give up. You can have setbacks. Oh my gosh, last night, I'm recording this, I said, on a Friday. Thursday night, you want to hear all the bad things that happened to me really quickly? Make myself bigger? Man, I was persistent, though. I never gave up. All right. Oh, I don't think I have the picture. I literally broke a glass table on my back porch. I think I can pull up I was trying to put, it was raining out. You probably can't see that very well, but it was raining out and the umbrella, it's a little windy. The umbrella kind of came off the table and it's an outside porch kind of table. So I tried to, and it's 10 years old. I tried to put the umbrella back in and for some reason it like shifted. Oh, it was lopsided. It was lopsided, the umbrella. So I tried to straighten it out. Boom, the table shattered. All right, that's one bad thing. There were three. The other thing is I got a call from my daughter. Car wouldn't start. The car was dead. Like, oh man. And it wasn't a dead battery because they tried to jump it off and it didn't work. But one of the other teachers had like a battery booster thing. I don't know. It worked. So, and I drove the car here to work today. So, but that was just one other thing. And then guess what? The last and worst thing was my basement flooded again. It's like bare bones down there. We have to get it redone, but every time it rains now, it's starting to flood. That's where all my kids' rooms. It was a finished basement. It was really nice. Now we have to pay like I don't know $20,000 to get it fixed, and it keeps. But anyways, but I was persistent, man. I never gave up. I wanted to. I kept going until it was time to go to bed. But trust me, when it was time to go to bed, I was very happy because I was like, man, this day was bad. But I always keep thinking somebody has it worse. That's for sure. My bad day yesterday wasn't nearly as bad as other people's bad days. Think about it. You're living in Ukraine one day. Happy life. Suddenly your country's at war. That sucks. So I try not to complain too much. Some of you probably have, worse days every day. Be persistent. Don't give up. All right. Next one, milestone. These are major accomplishments. It'd be helpful if I shared it, right? Major accomplishments within each area of life. So you can see that little baby right there. It went from crawling to walking. That's a huge milestone. So in a few years, fewer than you think, maybe it's going to happen quick. I bet everybody tells you that. You're going to be graduating high school. That's a huge milestone. In between then, you're going to be getting your license. Maybe, probably, most likely. Good chance of it happening. Huge milestone, right? Getting your license, milestone. Completing middle school, is that a milestone? I guess. It's not like we keep anybody back in the 8th grade. You could fail every class. It's unlikely, it's rare that you'd be held back. Possible, but unlikely. But I guess getting through middle school, especially if you do it well, it's a milestone. All right, the next one, nonfiction narrative. Let's break that thing down, okay? Nonfiction means not fake. That's how I think of it. If it's fiction, it's fake. Most of the stuff that we read in here is fake. Nonfiction means real. Documentaries are real. Nonfiction books where they're actually talking about history. History class is mostly nonfiction. Narrative, all that is just a story of somebody's life. So ultimately, I'm going to be asking you to write a nonfiction narrative eventually. I hope that makes sense. Clenched. I think we're down to 2 more. Clenched, and is it strided next? Yeah. So these are the last 2. Clenched. Do this with my fist right here. Clenching my fist. I'm clenching my teeth. That means, I don't know what the exact definition is. Closed or squeezed together tightly. Clenched. Hope that helps. There's also like a very small purse can be called a clinch. It's like, it just like closes. It's really small, but the way it's called a clinch. I don't know how I know that, but I know that. And the last one, striding. Look at this guy right here. Boom. That is what striding is. Walking quickly with long steps. So if someone has a lot of confidence, they might go striding into a room. Hope this helps. Maybe, I know I went kind of quickly, but maybe you got all the definitions down on your study guide.